Hey guys, I have not been on the Together conversations for a long time, and I want to tell you why. I was actually battling breast cancer for the second time. And so this last year has been a year of surgeries and healing and recovery, which makes me even more excited to introduce this conversation. This is with my friend Kim Harms, and she is an author and she is also a breast cancer survivor. And Kim, welcome to this conversation. Thanks for showing up today.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to be here.
Yeah, so first of all, I want you to tell us a little bit about the book that you have written, why you wrote it, and who it's for.
Okay. Yeah, the book is called Life Reconstructed: Navigating the World of Mastectomies and Breast Reconstruction. And it came out of breast cancer. I was diagnosed in 2016 with breast cancer and underwent bilateral mastectomy, so double mastectomy, and then had breast reconstruction,
Mhm.
implant reconstruction, which was a process. So I had a couple surgeries and a kind of a process in there. And I am a writer, so I was a journalist coming out of college and wrote for a newspaper, and then I had kids and stayed home with them for a few years, or actually for their
Yeah.
whole childhood, and freelanced through that. So writing is what I do. I would have never imagined writing a book about breast reconstruction, but God gives you experiences, and that's what He led me to.
Yeah.
And so this book is really a book that I would have loved to have going through this. You go,
Me too.
you get diagnosed with breast cancer, yes,
Yeah.
and there's so many things that hit you all at once,
Oh
and
man.
when you're looking at surgeries and choices, and because you do have some choices of types of surgery and how you want it done, and they just
Mhm.
you have to make these decisions so quickly. And so it's a challenge, and there are things I didn't know going into it that I thought, if I could put this down, what I've learned, and help somebody else at the onset to know maybe what to expect. So that was really my goal in this, is for women going through this. But then I
Yeah.
also would love for people who are their support systems to also uh, read and understand what their spouse is going through, or their sister is going through.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's really my goal and hope.
This is Breast Cancer Month, October, and, it's something that's being talked about a lot. But I think that what your book is going to bring to this is somebody who has walked through it. And I'll just share kind of my experience a little bit, Kim. I had breast cancer the first time when I was 31 years old. It's been a long time ago. And then that was stage three, had 28 years plus of wholeness after all the things I went through, hysterectomy, segmented mastectomy, chemo, radiation, all of that. And this time we caught it early. We caught it in stage one. But my thought was, you got me once, you don't get to get me twice. So I had a double mastectomy. And I remember people that I love a lot saying stuff, well, you're going to get an upgrade, and
Yes.
that's not what it is. This is not an upgrade. This is massive surgery. This is losing. I lost something that had been part of my body for a very long time, and I still miss my old body. And maybe somebody can look and say, you got to upgrade. And I'd say, well, that upgrade comes with skin grafts, and I kind of look like a patchwork quilt, and I have scars, and I lost a muscle in my back. So, what would you say to a friend of somebody who's getting ready to go through this? How is one way that they can best understand that this is not just an upgrade?
Yeah, it's tough because you're right. I had multiple people say things to that effect, like it's an upgrade,
Mhm.
you get a boob job, and it is
Yeah.
absolutely not that. So
Mhm.
um, I think just to encourage people to be sensitive to the cancer. I mean, so I feel like I've had to learn how to extend a lot of grace, because people
Yes.
don't know what to say, and then they say stupid things, and I've been guilty of that as well. Um, but yeah, just if you could just read and understand what that is, because like you said, I have scars, huge scars across my
Huge
breasts.
scars.
I no
And
longer
your
have
belly
nipples.
too. That's the thing.
Right,
It's not just limited to your breast.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you're feeling like I have a little bit of feeling in my breast, but it's weirdly numb.
Zero.
It's like
Mhm.
it is so not a boob job.
Yeah.
And, you miss, like you said, I miss the whole me, which
Mhm.
me going into that, I don't know how you felt when you're thinking about having the double mastectomy, but I mean, at that point, I was just thinking, okay, just take everything. It's
Me
not a
too.
big deal. Like,
Me too.
I don't want to have to worry about cancer again. Just take it all. And then afterwards, it was like, oh no, like this is hard. And I wasn't expecting that.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
And you talk about body image, and I think that's really key because I remember standing for the first time and seeing myself right after the surgery. And you don't know at that point what you're going to look like. And I'm not a vain person. I just want to be healthy. I'm 62 years old. I just want to be healthy. I want, um, but I also, as the year went on, and reconstruction is what it is. It's reconstruction. It's step by step by step. You have expanders, and you have, if you're going with the implant method, and
Mhm.
I hated the expanders. I hated them so
I did
much.
too.
Yeah. Um, but step by step, my body began to take place and become, reconstruction was underway. But your body image is impacted, and like I said, it's not a vanity issue. It's a self issue. It's that your body is changing. That sometimes, like my back didn't work the same way. It was so funny, Kim, because when I did exercise in the front,
Mm.
exercise that impacted my back, I would feel it in the front because my back muscle was in the
Oh,
front now. So it was just so weird. So you address body issue or body image in your book. Talk to us a little bit about that.
sure. Yeah, I think that body image was one of my biggest struggles. There are lots of
Mhm.
issues to deal with, but I when I got home, I told her I was afraid to look, and so when I was able to take the bandages off and I wasn't ready
Mhm.
to look yet, he taped paper over the mirror in my bathroom, and it was probably there for a week. He's
Oh,
like, "That's just not. Then you won't have to worry about seeing something you don't want to see." And
that's
then when I
cute.
was ready to look, and this will make me emotional, um, I look in the mirror and Corey's standing there with me, and I'm like, I'm going to throw up. I'm going to throw up. And he's like, no, it's okay. You're okay. You're beautiful. Everything
Yeah.
is going to be okay. And then I turned around and threw up. So that
Yeah.
was my first experience with seeing my new self. And,
Yeah.
and then I struggled with feeling like I should just be thankful that the cancer's gone. Like, I,
Mhm.
I have no right to be sad about this. I don't need my boobs anymore. I just be thankful. And so I'd argue back and forth in my head. And I really had to get to a point where I allowed myself to grieve that part of my body that was
Yeah.
missing.
Yeah.
And
That's smart.
yeah, and it was actually in reading a book called Wednesdays Were Pretty Normal by Michael Kelly, I believe. And there's a little quote in there that he said that grieving is not necessarily about losing a someone, it's about losing a piece of you and learning to
Yeah.
live with what's not there anymore. And
Yeah.
reading that, I was like, oh, yeah, I need to grieve this and it's okay.
Yeah.
And then when I understood that, it was kind of like the beginning of, okay, it's okay to grieve. Let's grieve this and let's figure out how to move on and
Yeah.
come to a new normal, I
Well,
guess.
and I
So,
love that you touched on the thought, this wrestling that we have, that first of all, we're so grateful, so grateful for the physicians, for the surgeons, for the opportunity to battle this cancer. You have that. And you also have this thought that I'm just so thankful that I am now, battling this in a very tangible way. But then you also wrestle with guilt, not guilt, that's not the right word. You wrestle with the thought that somehow you should be more grateful and less even worried about the fact that your body is in such transition. And I kind of think that's bunk in a way, because if we don't allow ourselves that process to grieve and to say, I wasn't perfect before by no means. I had nursed children, I was older. This second time that I was battling cancer, it wasn't about a perfection thing. It was just that it was the way my body moved. It was the way my body looked in clothes. I had to figure out who I was in clothes now. It was trying to do something with my left arm because this is where I lost the muscle in the back, and realizing that I couldn't do what I used to be able to do, or I was going to have to relearn how to do it differently. And so, if we don't allow ourselves the opportunity to grieve that, then I feel like that we're missing an important piece of the process.
Yes, I agree. I think that allowing ourselves to grieve is a very important piece of it. And I I interviewed a lot of women for this book,
Yeah,
and some women did not struggle with that very much. So
sure.
I know it affects different people
Yeah,
differently, but just knowing going into it that it is okay to grieve, I think is an important piece of this.
yeah.
So it doesn't take you kind of by surprise when it hits you all of a sudden.
Yeah. Well, this is the last question because these conversations are pretty short. But first of all, please get this book. We'll put some links to it and let you know how to find it. Please get it for a friend who's going through it. Please get it if you're going through it and you want it for a spouse or yourself or a friend. But the last question that I would have is, if you were sitting next to someone who had just been diagnosed and they're facing this myriad of options, because I was shocked at the amount of options that I had, and I had no clue where to go. What would you say to her as she is sitting there overwhelmed?
Um, I guess first of all, I would say take a deep breath.
Yeah,
There are so many decisions that need to be made so quickly. But I would say, as a person of faith, pray because God will be there.
yeah,
But also look for, seek out someone who has been through this. So many women have been through this, and it is okay. Almost every woman I've approached has been happy to help me or share about their experience. So I would encourage someone, find someone who has done this
yeah,
and ask them why they made the decisions they made. Would they do anything differently? Get that advice. Talk to your doctors and stuff, of course, but find a woman who has been through this that will say, yeah, let's get together and talk. I would just highly encourage that.
that's really good. Okay, so how can they find the book? How can they find you?
Okay. The book is available pretty much anywhere you would buy your books online. So Familius is my publisher. It's available there, Amazon, Barnes and Noble, anywhere you would find it online. And I know it's in some brick and mortar real bookstores throughout the country, but I don't know exactly where. But I know that you
Yeah.
can order them to be delivered to bookstores and pick them up there as well. And finding me online, I have a website. It's kimharms.net. So you can find me there, or I'm pretty active on Instagram, and that's at Kim Harms Life Reconstructed. And I'm happy to talk with people and connect with people, answer questions for people who are going through this. So
And tell them the title of the book one more time.
yes, the title of the book is Life Reconstructed, Navigating the World of Mastectomies and Breast Reconstruction.
Love it. Thank you, Kim. I know that there is going to be someone today that hears this that's going to feel not alone as she steps
Mhm.
into this brave new world of fighting breast cancer. Thank you for what you do. Thank you for showing up today to hang out with us. And I appreciate you
Mhm.
so, so much.
Thank you. I greatly appreciate you too. I don't know if you remember, but we met at a Right to Publish conference
I
years ago.
do.
Do you remember?
I do.
And I was so encouraged by you then, and it's been years, and lots of things have happened since then. But
I've got a lot older since then.
yeah, me too. Lots of things have changed.
Yes.
But yeah, you are just very encouraging to me, and I thank you so much for
No,
taking the time
absolutely.
today and letting me share about the book.
It's my pleasure.